So, what's up, you guys? I arrived a few minutes ago to South London, more or less, for a conference interpreting assignment that I will be starting tomorrow, and it's a 2-day event, not very long. Just really tired right now because I worked all day and then I had to drive more than 3 hours for this one. I've got my laptop over there, as you can see. It's almost 10:30, but I'll still do a bit more preparation for tomorrow. The agency sent me some materials while I was driving, so it's always best to check the materials and update my glossaries and all that, just so that I'm ready for tomorrow. If you're wondering what an interpreter usually brings to an event like this, an event that requires long traveling, this is more or less what I do. I mean, apart from the usual stuff like clothing and medicines and all that, I usually have paracetamol for headaches, and lots of things can happen. And I bring this thing as well. Interpreting is a very dangerous job, so you never know, you might need it. Also, I always bring a blindfold and earplugs. Usually hotel rooms are not very soundproof, and in terms of light, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't have any blinds, just curtains. They're not great, and you can literally hear everything, all the cars passing by. So if you are sensitive to light and noise, do like me and always bring these things if you ever have to. Got my laptop, absolutely essential for interpreting these days. I also have like a small mouse, because using the laptop mouse is very uncomfortable. And some documents. I always print some stuff. Usually what I do is I expect always the worst, so that's why I'm ultra cautious. I always bring extra stuff. If you're an interpreter, you shouldn't have a plan B. You should always have a plan C if you want to make things work. So I've got a tablet in case something happens to my laptop, if it fails, if it runs out of battery, so many things can happen. And if you're an interpreter, or if you want to be one, or even if your work involves a lot of traveling, just do yourself a favor, get one of these. This is a 5G modem, portable one. Don't rely on dodgy hotel Wi-Fi's. I've tested this one and the Wi-Fi doesn't really work here properly, so this is what's actually be saving me tonight. And I've also got a way to use my smartphone as a hotspot, so always have a backup for everything. Power bank in case you run out of battery. Always a few pens. This is the backpack I will take to the work tomorrow. I prefer using backpacks than, those normal bags, but I've got a few extra pens as well. Notebooks, I always bring 2 of them in case I run out of paper. And I was talking about the 5G modem. I've got here also a spare card with data in case I need it urgently and I don't have the time to top up the one that I'm using. I've got suits and shirts here. Bring as many as you need depending on how many days you'll be working. This is a iron. I've also got a shoe polish, lint roller. Always look your best. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The key point here is always have not a plan B, but a plan C. There's too many things that can go wrong when you are interpreting, so it's always best to cover your back.
Whenever you are interpreting on site, it's very important that you know how to use one of these things properly. Nice. This is an interpreter console. Here's more or less how they work. These things are always connected to a headset and to a microphone. And you have this option to turn on and off your microphone. When it's red, you are live. When it's green, you are muted. And you can also use these buttons to select the channel you are speaking into. So right now I'm speaking into the Portuguese channel. This is when I have to do interpretation into English. Here you can adjust the input volume. Here are the other language channels. So if I select French, I'll start hearing interpretation in French. Or I can go back to English or just click this button to go back to the floor.
So I'm outside right now because our delegate, the Portuguese speaking delegate, apparently he got stuck in the airport because his flight got cancelled, and then he was taken to Heathrow Airport, which is very far away from where we are right now. So yeah, they told us not to do interpretation because there's no point, there's nobody listening. So we're just waiting for him to arrive and then we will start. Yeah, these things happen sometimes, you know, it's all part of the process. Let's get some coffee.
Just to clarify, while this was happening, all our other colleagues, the colleagues from the other languages, they were working while all of this was happening. It was just our own delegate, he was not at the meeting, so essentially we were just making time, waiting for him to arrive, and once he arrived, we started doing our work as we should. The afternoon was a bit different. It was a tour guide, and all interpretation was done in whispering mode. So you can see here the interpreter and the delegate. While the speaker was doing his presentation, we were essentially next to the delegate and we were translating, just using a very low tone of voice. This is called whispering or chuchotage. This is a different form of simultaneous interpreting and it can be used on many contexts. Here's an example from 1985.
Design the product. That can listen and tell you automatically what species of
So I'm back in my hotel room. It's more or less 8:30 by now and I'm almost done for today. So just sitting here, the client gave us like these printouts. They'll be presented tomorrow. I'll just update my glossaries and do a couple more things, but that's pretty much it. Anyway, I'll get back to this and to my laptop. So the plan for tomorrow is I'll wake up early, get some quick breakfast, get ready, and I'll go downstairs. They will take us to the venue on a bus, and yeah, let's see. Looking forward to it.
A typical conference interpreting assignment takes place inside a soundproof booth. There's usually a technical team with lots of equipment taking care of that part, but how does it actually work when you are inside one of these things?
Right, so let me try to explain this. So an interpreting booth normally looks something like this, right? And interpreters always work in pairs. So each language pair will have 2 interpreters. So let's put them in their places. Okay, there you go. And obviously the whole thing, it's fully, the idea is to make it as soundproof as possible, but you get the idea.
Each interpreter will go for 20 or 30 minutes, one at a time. That's usually agreed beforehand with your colleague before you start the event. When one is interpreting, the other is resting, and then they swap over and they keep going like this until the end of the event. One important thing is that when you are resting, you are not always necessarily fully resting. So often you are researching terminology, sorting out paperwork to help your colleagues. So it's more dynamic than you might think. So there's a lot of cooperation between the 2 colleagues. It's not just a matter of interpreting, it is also a matter of helping your colleague out. But here's another thing you might be asking yourself. Where are the speakers? So normally when you look up online, you can see that the interpreters are usually looking directly at whoever is speaking on the floor. But in this case, you can only see that we are looking at the screen and the rest of the room appears to be empty. So what's happening here?
Now, sometimes the client may not have enough room to have all the technical equipment, plus maybe instead of just one language, we may have like 3, 4, 5 languages. So imagine this multiplied by 5. That takes a lot of space. So often clients won't have a room large enough to accommodate for all of that plus the speakers. So this is what they do. They have a separate room for all the interpreters, and they will have the speakers in a completely different room, usually in the same building, of course. So what's going to happen is this room will have cameras, microphones, and all that, and the sound and the video will be streamed to room number 2, where all the interpreters are. Interpreters will see the little screen, what's happening on the next door room, and they will be interpreting, and then the interpretation will be streamed to the main room, where all the participants will be wearing a earpiece so that they can listen to their target language.
So I hope this dumb Lego explanation made some sense. Another interesting thing, keep in mind that the soundproof booth isn't necessarily 100% soundproof. There is always a degree of leakage. Here's an example. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing. You can hit the like button or you can buy me a coffee. Any support you can give me will be truly appreciated. Thank you, and until next time.